Right. Well, fellow Kenyans, following last week's virtual town hall, I'm pleased once again to be talking directly with you about the stakes in this election, my own action plan for more jobs, lower cost of living, and actually to ensure that every single person in this country can share in its prosperity and success. I'm also very pleased to be able to talk about the need for peace, for unity, and for continued stability in Kenya as we approach the general election. We must all roundedly and soundly and very loudly reject in Kenya the politics of division and incitement. No matter the results of this election, we must love one another. Because first and foremost, we are all Kenyans. So to begin, I thank everyone who has sent in questions. To ask a question, you can simply tweet using the hashtag #ChatWithUhuru or comment under this Facebook page. During this election campaign, as I said last time, I've had the opportunity to travel every corner of our country, speaking about my optimistic vision for the future of this great nation. And together, we have built the foundation for a country with many, many more jobs, especially the youth, trying to push the cost of living down for every family so that each family can put food on their tables, a peaceful and united country where we all share in our prosperity. We have made progress over the last 4 years. We have created jobs, not enough, but we have created jobs. We have invested in infrastructure, roads, rail, electricity, to support job creation and businesses, and to help our farmers deliver their produce to markets in a much more cost-effective manner. Kenyans have access today to probably the best education and healthcare on the continent. And we've taken great steps to stamp out the terror and senseless violence of Al-Shabaab to make this country safer for every Kenyan family. But there is much more work to be done. As I said last time, too many Kenyans are still struggling. Many can't find jobs, and food prices are still high. That is why throughout this campaign, I've talked about my action plan for more jobs and a lower cost of living, which will transform the progress from the last 4 years into real benefits felt by all Kenyans. Over the next 5 years, I believe we can create more jobs. We are targeting to create 6.5 million new jobs, especially for our youth, by continuing to invest in our infrastructure, education, training small enterprises, and a 21st century high-tech economy. And I believe that with my action plan, I will take immediate action to ensure that this progress means a lower cost of living for you and your family by investing in farming, markets, transport and trade. We have made great progress with food security, protection against drought, and better transport links for food delivery, which will mean eventually lower prices. And I'm asking all Kenyans to let us finish the job that we have started. Before I go to your questions, I have also learned of the unfortunate and untimely death of Kevin Ombanjo. Big Kev, who has fought very, very bravely against a brain tumor. Kevin was a mentor and a leader for many young Kenyans in the entertainment industry, and his passion and drive will be missed. To his wife Tracy Kamene, his daughter Shana, and his entire family, my condolences. And to my friend Big Ted, accept my sincere and deep condolences. We stand together in this difficult time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to start taking your questions. I've got one here from Omondi Jack Sr. from Kisumu. And he says, Mr. President, the other day you said you don't campaign on the media like your competitors, and that you engage people directly. To you, campaigning in the media is a waste of time. This prompted you to skip the presidential debate. Today we are doing exactly the opposite. Does that mean you don't always mean what you say? Well, my friend Jack, I do mean what I say. For the last few months, I have traversed every corner of this country, speaking to Kenyans, addressing in some instances between 10 to 15 rallies a day, in every single county, in every single district across the Republic of Kenya, talking to our people, hearing their problems, and telling them of my agenda to change their lives. And indeed, sitting here today, I am not talking to the media. I'm talking to you, Jack. I'm answering your question. And what I said about these debates is that if you want a debate, then you need to involve all parties. All parties must sit down and set the ground rules. How are we engaging and what are we talking about? So that everybody feels that a debate that has been anchored by people who you don't know, who you have not participated with, can be biased. And indeed, my call to the media is that yes, it is good to encourage leaders to share and to debate their different policies and programs. But then indeed, you need to involve them and tell them what is the setup, how are we doing it, how are we going to manage it, so that we can all be assured that the process is transparent, that the process is not biased. But that doesn't mean that I'm not willing. I'm talking to you now, Jack. I'm answering your question now. Doesn't mean that we're not ready to answer those questions. We are. And I hope that going into the future, the media or whoever organizes these debates must recognize that you need the confidence of all parties, that you are a neutral, unbiased player who can actually go out there and be deemed to be neutral, free, and fair. So I think that answers my question there. Yes, next question. Mr. President, pesa ya wajane, utaweka mikakati ipi ile ifikie wote bila mapendeleo kama ilivyo sasa? We have tried very, very much to ensure that our cash transfers are done in a very transparent, open manner. Indeed, as opposed to even as was the previous situation before, allowing just the provincial administration or the national administration, as it's called today, to address who benefits from this. We have involved stakeholders, leaders, and political leaders at the grassroots level for them to be the ones to decide who in their areas is most needy and who requires to benefit from these cash transfers that the government gives. I know, and I've heard in very many quarters, that in some instances there has been bias. And that is why we are looking towards changing to create even greater transparency. That is why we have said, for example, so that there is no loophole, the cash transfers, especially, for example, for the elderly, will now be for all those who have reached the age of 70. So once you reach the age of 70, all you need to do is produce your ID, and automatically you will be put on the cash transfer scheme. That will ensure that some of these problems of bias are removed. We want to continue, and hopefully even now begin to involve religious communities to ensure that widowers, widows, orphans are also put on the front line. Because at the end of the day, our objective is to ensure that it is those most needy that must be first in the queue. Not those who know anybody, but those most needy. And we will continue to investigate the systems, work out all the problems that are in the systems until we get it right. But I will tell you, my friend, that we have started. We want to increase this program. And we will deal with all the problems as we move along. The most important factor to me is that as a country, we have started to recognize, and our government has started to emphasize the need for us as a nation that seeks equity to take care of those who are most vulnerable, and to set aside resources to deal with them and to ensure that no single Kenyan is left behind. The next question is, what will you do for our children if you win the election? Will the laptop project be fully implemented? The laptop project is well underway. And I want to challenge any Kenyan who says that our children have not, especially because we said we were going to start at the entry level. Most schools in our country have already received their tablets. We are now preparing ourselves to ensure that going forward, as indeed we promised, we want each and every school to also have computer labs so that the other students in higher classes can also access high-tech training. And why are we doing this? We're doing this because we believe that in order to compete in the 21st century, our children, regardless of where they're born, must have access to the same quality and standard of education that is available anywhere in the world. That is the only way to prepare them for the challenges of the 21st century and for the opportunities also that this new century provides for our children. We are also moving on to ensure, and as I said, from January of next year, and we have started this over the last 4 years, by increasing capitation, by making our exams free, by putting the 10 billion that we have put aside to invest in infrastructure of our secondary schools, to ensure that by next year we are ready to take on board all Standard 8 leavers to have the opportunity for entry into Form 1 and to be able to offer free secondary education for our children, so that no children in Kenya or no child in Kenya will be without the opportunity of an education because his or her parent cannot afford fees. That is why we are investing heavily in technical training institutes, with every single constituency having one TTI, so that those of our children who do not have the opportunity to enter university are equipped with the necessary skills in our TTIs to be able to have the qualifications to be able to earn a living in Kenya. That is why we are continuing to say that we want every child also who graduates from a TTI or university, and who consistently, because this is a big problem especially with our young people, when they're out there seeking jobs, the big question is, oh, what experience do you have? And this is a great challenge for a lot of our young people. So we are also launching a program where all our technical training institute leavers, all our university leavers are given the opportunity of a one-year internship paid for by the government that will ensure that these young men and women are able to get some experience, earn some money, so that when they move out into the real world, they can quote that, yes, I have experience. And the question of lack of experience will no longer be an issue as we seek jobs for our young people. So we have big plans for our children, for our young men and women. And a lot of this, we have already started laying the foundation over the last 4 years. And we want to continue with this position so that we can position our nation as a truly middle-income country well before the target date of 2030. Vincent from Thika, what is your plan on many graduates who graduate? But I think I've just really answered that question. In Meru, very poor infrastructure, more so roads, no electricity in specific Ngurungu market. Why? Well, my friend, I think if there is one thing that my government can be credited for, is the manner in which we have extended our grid across the country. When I took over in 2013, only 34% of our population had access to electricity. Today, only 4 years later, we are now closer to 56% of Kenyans who have electricity, almost double the number in only 4 years. And my promise to you is that maybe you may belong in that quarter that has not yet received electricity. But I want to promise you that we are going to reach every single village, every single market, every single home in our quest to ensure that Kenyans have access to electricity, because we believe that that is a key infrastructural ingredient alongside the roads that you're mentioning towards ensuring that we have a nation that creates opportunity for our young people. So I may not have gotten to you yet, but the direction is clear. And now that I've noted your particular market, I will put it on fast track. But even for those other areas that we haven't reached, my promise to you is that we are going to get to you. Then there is Yes, Mr. President, you have done a lot. We have witnessed a lot. Power, huduma, exam fees, maternity, and many others. But we still have to do more. And you must lower the food prices. I think I've answered that. Unemployment, corruption, these are still big problems in your administration. What measures do you have for the people of Northeastern and Kenya at large to curb and eradicate this disaster? Well, Mohammed, good question. But I think you can be a true witness, as you have indeed said yourself, that over the last 4 years, more national government resources have been spent in the marginalized or formerly marginal areas than ever before. Garissa, for the first time, is on the national grid. Wajir today has tarmac roads. More boreholes are being built and drilled in those areas. The road linking Wajir to Moyale is well underway, and we want to extend that all the way through to Mandera. Kenyans in that region today have power. More resources through the Equalization Fund are being spent in those regions. My strong belief and my objective coming out of my 4 years and going into, if Kenyans so desire, another 5 years, is to ensure that the word marginalized shall never be used in Kenyan vocabulary again. We never want to hear again the issue that somebody coming from Mandera will be saying, I'm off to Kenya, because he doesn't consider himself a Kenyan. We want a situation where every single one of us, all 45 million, irregardless of where we live, can stand firmly and say where I am, and be proud to say I am a Kenyan because I have access to the resources that every single other Kenyan has. Today, Mahmoud, we have cesarean sections being done in Mandera and Wajir. That was unheard of many years ago. Today, our women in those areas are not dying because they're giving birth to future generations because of our free maternity program. Yes, we have done a lot. And yes, I also agree we have a lot more to do. But I believe we are on the right path. Let us work together to achieve that objective. Okay. Joseph Omondi. Mr. President, how are you supporting our Kenyan team that will be taking... That was a question that was asked last time in London, but anyway, no, it's in London. I answered this last time. Mr. President, how are you supporting our Kenyan team that will be taking part in the IAF World Championships in London next month? And what is your government's plan for youth through sports? Also, what happened to the stadiums you promised us? We are fully supporting our team to the IAF, just as we proved very successful in supporting our under-17s in the recently concluded meets held here at Kasarani in Nairobi. And we are ensuring that our team will be ready, and indeed, it is my hope that our team will do as well as the under-17s did. With regard to the stadiums, we are building these stadiums. I was recently in Nyeri, where I launched a stadium, construction work, is well underway. That stadium will be done within the next 8 months or so. I was in Marsabit. Another stadium is being built. In West Pokot, there is a stadium that's being built. In Kapkatet, work is well underway. So we intend to finish all these stadiums. And work has already started. And we are well underway. You've seen the refurbishment that we have done in Kasarani, which today is a world-class facility. And as I said last time, we believe now we have the capacity, and we have proved to the world we're not only able to hold junior championships, we're also able to hold senior partnerships. We have had problems with the stadium in Mombasa because of problems with the county government. We have had problems with the stadium in Kisumu also because of issues with the county government and the issue of garbage, because our stadiums must meet international standards. But our commitment to building these stadiums, our commitment to improving our sporting capacity in our nation is there. And we will continue. And I do believe we are well underway in building those stadiums, as I have said and have named, and the places I have named, you need only go and see the work that is ongoing. And I believe in a very short period of time, if we continue along this path, indeed, as we said, we will have a stadium of international standard and quality in every single county in our republic. Jane Moria, how come we don't see your wonderful children on the campaign? Where have you hidden them? Well, I haven't hidden them anywhere. They're up and about doing their own things. I don't want them involved unless they so desire in the campaign. I want them to live life like every other Kenyan. I want them to be able to achieve their dreams and objectives like every other Kenyan. And it is not their business to be out there campaigning for me. If they so desire, they do it in their own way. It is my business to ensure that I do everything that I can to protect them, to defend them, and to create a country and a nation for them, that they can be the best that they can be in whatever it is that they shall choose to do. And that is my dream, that is my desire, not just for my own children, but for every single one of our children in our republic. That's my job, that's my objective, and that is what I seek to do, and that is what I seek Kenyans to give me an opportunity to do for all the children of this country. Emmanuel Siwa, Mr. President, how are you going to make sure that there is no chaos during and after the election? Are there any reasons you would not concede the election if you lose? Well, Emmanuel Siwa, let me say that we have put in place measures, and our security teams have been working as they always have to try and ensure that we have the safest, most peaceful elections ever held in this country. And that is why everywhere I go, even after I finish asking for votes, my last question and my last position to Kenyans is, please, once you have exercised your democratic right, please be part of the peace of this nation. That is why I've just come from a church service today at Uhuru Park, where I joined thousands of Kenyans who were out there praying for peace. Our security forces are ready to combat any situation, but it is also upon ourselves as citizens to ensure that we also do everything in our power to ensure that we shall have peace. Let us exercise our democratic right, go back to our homes, go back to our neighbors, our neighborhoods, our villages, and look at our brother and sister as fellow Kenyans who also have exercised their right. And once the decision is made, as I have always said, if the decision goes against me, history has proved that I am a man who abides by the will of the people. I only call upon my opponent to also stand firm and state clearly to the people of Kenya that he too shall also abide by the will of the people. If I win, he should accept and acknowledge and let the country move on, just as I will do the same if it goes opposite. Yeah? More than that's already here.
And, one is, they came through on my system. One is asking about the arts. So people like FBI, the team, are you dance with them? What are you doing to support them? And then this one here has a 4-year-old with a chicken for you.
Oh. Well, George, when it comes to the arts, we have been establishing across the country, and some are already underway, talent centers, studios, because we have recognized that this country has great talent, but the big problem is access to studios, access to equipment that can help our talented young men and women achieve their objective. So we are in the process of setting up talent studios where people can actually go in, make their recordings, because government has supplied the equipment, and then move their product out into the market. Because one of the greatest costs that has denied many Kenyans is, how do I record? How do I get the equipment? So we want to create these talent centers where people can go, and our hope is that through these talent centers, because we are well behind in terms of our 30% local content requirement for our broadcasters, but we believe that using this medium, we should be able to get many more young people having the opportunity, because they know what they want to do but they couldn't afford it, now through these talent centers, being able to make their own productions, their own music, and being able, through now the many channels that are available, begin airing and exposing their talent, not only to the Kenyan people, but to the world at large. Silas Musila, my son, has a chicken to give you on the swearing-in day. I promise you, if that happens, your son will be here before we drive to Kasarani. So I thank him for that, and just tell him God bless you. Thank you very much for that thought. John King, comment on the future of the East African community. My government has been at the forefront of ensuring that the East African community becomes a reality. A reality where any Kenyan, any Tanzanian, any Ugandan, any person from Rwanda, any person from Burundi, and including South Sudan, that is now a member of the East African community, can move, do business, farm, anywhere throughout the region, and that our borders will no longer be a limit to the talent and productivity of our people. We have, as a country, gone a long way to making it easier for our brothers and sisters in our neighboring countries, especially those landlocked countries, to access their products and goods from Mombasa. Before I took over, for example, it took 21 days to get a container from Nairobi to Kampala. Today, no, from Mombasa to Kampala. Today, it takes only 4 days. I think our commitment to the East African community and ultimately to an East African Federation is top on my mind, because I believe that it is together that we can deal with our challenges. I believe that it is together that we can create greater prosperity, larger markets, more job opportunities. So mine is to continue working very strongly for an East African, or for an East Africa that has benefits for each and every one of our citizens, and I will do my part to make that a reality. Well, because of time,
just one more that you think you should respond to. One of the best moments of your presidency, and then one just about how should people trust that you deliver on your action plan.
Okay, Sarah Rubiro, what has been the best moment of your presidency and the worst moment so far? Well, I think the worst moment for me is more than one. It's the unfortunate incidences of terrorist attacks by Al-Shabaab at Westgate, at Garissa University, in Lamu, where many of our hard-working Kenyans who really have no ill against anybody, their lives are taken purely on the basis of a false ideology, an ideology that spreads and preaches hate, and where innocent people die, not for any agenda, not for any reason, purely out of a false ideology that seeks to tarnish even the name of a wonderful religion called Islam. Those, I believe, have been my lowest moments, and that is why I am so committed to ensuring that we upgrade, empower our security systems, personnel, to ensure that we are able to give every single Kenyan the security they need to go about their business in a peaceful and stable nation. I think the best moment, there are also quite a number, I believe the best moment is the moment I rode the train from Mombasa to Nairobi, the first new train our country has seen in 120 years. A moment that made me see the wonderful opportunity and potential that Kenya has if only we could just come together and work together as one nation, devoid of tribal and ethnic politics, devoid of religious politics, devoid of color, but just what we can do as a people together and how far we can go united, and the great prosperity and a wonderful future that is available for our people. Well, anyway, it's getting late. I take this moment to think of, because time is running out. But I want to thank everybody who was taking part. And as I finish, I want to end once again by asking all my fellow Kenyans, please, with 1 week to go, remember, please remember, that we are all brothers and sisters. Please don't allow politics of incitement and anger to divide us. As a nation, we have achieved great things together, and I am confident that better days lie ahead for all of us. On August the 8th, every Kenyan faces a very important choice. Probably one of the most important choices many of us have ever faced. We can choose progress to build on the foundations that we have laid over the last 4 years to deliver a more prosperous, peaceful, and united Kenya with more jobs and a lower cost of living. I urge Kenyans to choose progress and prosperity over politics. Progress for the future over politics of the past. Peace and unity over division and inertia. Choose my action plan over no credible plans at all. Remember, no plan means no progress. And no progress means no new jobs, no new development, and ultimately, a continued higher cost of living. I ask every Kenyan to back me and my action plan so that we can finish the job, so we can transform this great nation, Kenya, together. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you listening to me. Thank you very much.